Welcome into NFL on 365 Sports. I'm your host, Grayson, and of course, today we are talking about the Super Bowl. Rams versus Bengals. Let's do it. All right, welcome in. Of course, we're talking about Super Bowl 56, Rams versus Bengals. I got a lot to share with y'all today. We're going to go through how the Rams and Bengals got here, the playoff edition, go through a couple of their games and kind of what stood out, who made a difference in that game. And then also I'll talk about some key stats for each team as we get ready for this Super Bowl Sunday weekend. And then, of course, predictions, betting odds, everything like that. We'll try to hit it all and hopefully win you some money and also hopefully give you a little bit of insight into what should be an awesome game. So, let's start with the basics. The Rams, they're 4.5 points favorites going into this game. The over-under is 48.5. So let's start with them. Let's start with the favorites. The Rams, of course, first round, they took on the Cardinals, won it 34-11. The defense only gave up 183 yards. They forced 2 turnovers. Really was just a dominating performance. I mean, 34-11 against a team that is in their division, a team that beat them really bad early in the season. They were able to get some revenge, and of course, Stafford was very good. You saw the emergence of Cam Akers as well, coming off the Achilles injury, which, I mean, that is absolutely insane what he's been able to do. I know he's still shaking off some rust, but in that game, we got glimpses of what Cam Akers could be in the future and potentially in this Super Bowl matchup. Moving on to the second round, the Rams took on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champs. We're up 27-3 in the third quarter, and I think everyone was kind of going, at that point, I know I was, wow, this team is definitely going to be in the Super Bowl. This is a team that's probably going to win the Super Bowl with the way they were looking, but things flipped. I mean, it's Tom Brady, and Tom was able to lead the Buccaneers right back into this game, tied the game up at 27 apiece. And Matthew Stafford said, no, we're not going to overtime with these guys. We're not going to rely on a coin toss to try to win this playoff matchup and go to the NFC Championship. So he and Cooper Kupp decided to go on a 63-yard drive in 42 seconds, capped off by a Matt Gay field goal, 30-yarder, to win the game and send the Rams to the NFC Championship game. Matthew Stafford had 366 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp, 183 yards and a score in that game. I mentioned Cam Akers the game before. Cam Akers had 2 fumbles in this game that were lost, and that really helped the Buccaneers get back in that one as the Rams turned the ball over 4 times, but they survived. That led into the NFC Championship game where they took on the San Francisco 49ers, who had beaten them twice in the regular season. This was a really interesting game. They had to score 13 unanswered points to win this one. The Rams did. Matt Gay, again, 30-yard field goal with 1:46 left to give them the 20-17 win. But again, I mean, just a shaky performance. It was 17-7. Going into the fourth quarter, but Matthew Stafford, 337 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp, 142 receiving yards and 2 scores. They got it done. That sent them to the Super Bowl, and the rest is history. So that's how the Rams were able to get through the playoffs. So now let's talk about the underdog, the Cincinnati Bengals. What a story it has been. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, a defense that has somehow emerged as a defense that you can almost count on to win them some games at times. It's just been a historic run, and I know a lot of people have mentioned this, but they do feel like a team of destiny. I completely understand that mindset. So their first round game, they took on the Las Vegas Raiders. They won it 26-19. They won the turnover battle 2-0. This was a wild game because Derek Carr was actually driving down the field, down by 7, 4th and goal, and the Bengals defense got an interception. That sealed the deal, allowed them to win this one. Joe Burrow, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 139 receiving yards in this game. He was terrific. They were able to get the job done, move on to the second round. And their second round matchup was a game where I think most people picked against them. I know I did. I mean, they were taking on the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry was coming back. It was a Titans defense that was really emerging. And I think just everyone felt like this was going to set up for the Titans to get a win at home, but it did not go that way. Joe Burrow, 348 yards passing, despite the fact that he was sacked 9 times in this game, was hit 13 times. They won the turnover battle 3-1. This was, to me, one of those games where Joe Burrow played well. He really did. And, I mean, under the circumstances, he made all the plays that they needed to win this game. But their defense, what they did to Ryan Tannehill, forced 3 interceptions in this game, including one with 20 seconds left that really won them this game. So they got the interception, 20 seconds left. Joe Burrow completes a deep pass to Jamar Chase. They're able to get into field goal range. And, of course, Evan McPherson knocks down a 52-yarder to win it. And Evan McPherson has become one of those guys that everyone's talking about now because he was a 5th-round pick. Everyone was totally against taking a kicker in the 5th round, and he's turned into an absolute superstar and a game changer, really, for the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think that game really was one of those where you go, this is the emergence of Joe Burrow, because the win over the Raiders felt like they could win that game. They felt like 2 evenly matched teams. But winning on the road against the Titans, totally different story, and one that really, I think, added to the drama of this postseason for the Bengals. And, of course, this set up a matchup in the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that was looking to get to the Super Bowl for a 3rd year in a row. Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow, and it lived up to the hype. And, honestly, a thrilling game. The Chiefs were up 21-3. Patrick Mahomes looked like he was getting ready to truly enter the GOAT conversations with the way he looked in that first half. And my, oh my, did things change in the second half. It ends up going to overtime. The Bengals actually took the lead, but the Chiefs were able to tie it up to send it to overtime. And then in overtime, the Chiefs win the coin toss for the 2nd straight week, and Patrick Mahomes gets intercepted by Von Bell. So once again, the Bengals defense stepping up, and then Joe Burrow leads him down the field. Evan McPherson hits a 31-yard field goal for the win. Burrow had 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was very, very good. He seemed like he just made all the necessary plays for them to win this game, and they got it done. And that's how they got to the Super Bowl. So now that leads into Rams versus Bengals, Super Bowl 56. So I'm going to go through a few, I guess, key stats and just key playoff numbers that have kind of emerged from both teams. So first with the Rams, they haven't given up 100 yards rushing in a game yet this postseason. They've given up 50, 51, and 61 in their 3 games. So they've been really, really good stopping the run, and that just correlates to what they did during the season. They were fantastic against the run all year. They forced at least 1 turnover in each playoff game. Cooper Kupp has a touchdown in every single playoff game. And then kind of a few season-long stats. The Rams entered this game with 50 sacks on the season, which was 3rd in the NFL. Bengals, on the other side, have given up 55 sacks, which is 3rd worst in the NFL. Going along with that number, the Bengals are 1-4 when Joe Burrow is sacked 5 or more times. The one outlier was the one against Tennessee Titans. And then the Rams are also completing 50% of their 3rd down conversions, which I find really interesting. They've been really money on 3rd down, and so have the Bengals, which we'll get to here in a second. Key stat to look at, I think, for the Rams, outside of those sack numbers, is the fact that they're 8-1 this year when they rush for over 100 yards in a game. And they're also averaging 30 points per game in those 9 contests. On the flip side, the Bengals have given 100 yards up 12 times, including all 3 playoff games. So that number is definitely one to focus on. If the Rams hit 100 yards rushing with Cam Akers, Sony Michel, maybe even Darrell Henderson is back, they're going to have a great shot at winning this one. Moving on to the Bengals, they've ran for over 100 yards in all 3 games so far this postseason. They've given up 12 sacks and 22 quarterback hits on Joe Burrow. They have not been great on the offensive line. Burrow has 842 yards and 4 touchdowns in the 3 games. And Joe Mixon, who's kind of been an unsung hero, I think, for them, he has 190 yards rushing and 106 yards receiving. That receiving number has really bounced up for them, and I think it could be a big number in this game against the Rams. I could see Joe Mixon being a big part of the passing attack. They're also completing 49% of their third down. So, again, they've been money on third down. Other key stats for the Bengals in the playoffs, they have a 7-2 turnover margin. They have been terrific at taking care of the ball and forcing turnovers, whereas the Rams are 5-5 as far as the turnovers go. So they've been a little bit more turnover prone, haven't forced as many, whereas the Bengals have really capitalized. So that's going to be an area where I think the Bengals have to win the turnover battle if they're going to have a shot at winning this game. The other key stat, just honestly, is the passing attack. When you talk about Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and even Joe Mixon in the passing game, Joe Burrow has been really relying on those guys, and they have absolutely paid him off. Those guys have been terrific, and Joe Burrow has to be the guy in this game. He's going to have to outperform Matthew Stafford if they want a shot to win this. So now, let's move on to my bets for this game. I think I'm going to go with the over here. So it's 48 points right now. I'm going to take the over. I think both of these teams find a way to score in this game. I don't know if it's going to be conventional. I could see a pick six. I could see, a strip sack for a touchdown. But at the end of the day, I think they will cover that 48 number. I have a final score prediction of Rams 30, Bengals 23. I think it's going to be a really competitive game, but I do think the Rams are the better overall team. And I think they're going to be able to extend a lead a little bit and able to maintain that lead because of a really good defense and a defense that's going to force sacks, force some havoc in the backfield. Von Miller, Aaron Donald, I think they're going to cause some problems for Joe Burrow. So with that final score, I'm also taking the Rams to cover the 4.5-point spread. So I'm really excited. I mean, that's Super Bowl 56 right there. That's the prediction. Those are the previews. Those are the things that kind of added up to where we are right now in the season. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Really excited for it, and just excited that y'all were able to listen and kind of tune in to what could be a historic Super Bowl 56. But for Grayson Grune, this has been NFL on 365 Sports.